Imagine, like, someone hands you an eviction notice, right? And instead of freaking out that you might lose your home, you just stand there and criticize the landlord for printing it in Comic Sans.
Yeah, just totally ignoring the actual stake.
Exactly. You're desperately ignoring the giant ticking time bomb.
Well, welcome to today's deep dive, where we're unpacking exactly that kind of behavior. We're looking at a pretty sharp rhetorical strategy for you to just shut down pedantic online debaters. Those people who prioritize punctuation over actual honesty.
Oh, it is such a fascinating psychological defense mechanism. I mean, when people are faced with a complex argument that they can't easily dismantle, they often just retreat to critiquing the delivery.
Because it's easier, right?
Exactly. It requires zero intellectual effort to point out a missing comma. Like, comparing that to actually engaging with the substance of what you're saying, it's night and day. So they use grammar as this literal shield. It's basically a flight response. But okay, let me challenge that for just a second. I mean, if my voice-to-text translates the word definitely to defiantly, the entire meaning of my sentence is ruined.
Right, that's true.
So doesn't the critic have a point there? Like, at what point does calling out typos stop being about clarity and start being a deliberate excuse to just dodge the core issue? Clear communication is objectively important.
Well, there is a distinct line between, a genuine request for clarification and bad faith pedantry. Someone who is genuinely confused will just ask what you meant.
Right, they'll say, wait, did you mean definitely?
Exactly. The pedant, however, they seize on that typo as proof that your entire argument is invalid. And this is especially transparent when you're communicating via, like, voice-to-text or digital dictation.
Which honestly fundamentally changes the dynamic because you didn't even type the mistake. Your phone did it.
Yes. And calling that out exposes their technical ignorance. They are choosing to play proofreader on an automated transcription rather than having a real conversation with you.
Wow. Yeah, it's a massive tell.
It really is. It shows they are actively looking for an exit hatch from the debate. They don't want to engage with the actual content.
So once you realize they are deliberately dodging the argument, you kind of have to look at who they're actually performing for. Because, I mean, they aren't talking to you anymore at that point.
No, not at all.
It feels like watching people perform a secret handshake in an exclusive club or something. They just want to look smart to their peers.
Psychologically, what they're doing right there is performing what the source calls a superiority ritual. They've essentially lost connection to reality.
A superiority ritual. I like that.
Yeah, they're operating with a dead antenna, basically.
Here.
They prefer the safety of this digital echo chamber that's built entirely on punctuation and smugness.
You know, naming it a superiority ritual is actually incredibly empowering.
It really shifts the dynamic.
It does. It instantly shrinks their attacks down from like an intimidating intellectual critique to just petty, small-minded behavior. You get to become the observer, maintaining the big picture view while they put on their little performance.
And having that understanding changes how you end the fight. You walk away by asserting your own values over theirs.
Right. You just don't play their game.
Exactly. You contrast their petty echo chamber with a reality that's actually based on content and honesty. You demonstrate that you don't need their acceptance or like a flawless period to know their debate is entirely empty.
So what does that look like in practice then? Like, what do you actually type back to them when they do this?
Well, you say something to the effect of, I dictate my thoughts while living my actual life out in the real world. If you'd rather grade my phone's spelling than answer my point, we're done here.
Oh, that is so good.
It completely removes their power and just leaves them arguing with themselves. It's this practical reminder for you that you can simply step outside these digital echo chambers. Raw, authentic content is always going to hold far more weight than polished pedantry.
It really makes you think about where all this is heading. Like, as digital tools fundamentally change how we construct messages, it raises a fascinating question for you to mull over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will the strict traditional rules of grammar eventually become obsolete markers of online class, rather than actual tools for understanding each other? Just something to think about. The next time you spot a typo in a dictated text, remember, don't ignore the eviction notice just because you hate the font. Pay attention to the message.